What's up, guys? This is Chris from draftdashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for MLB Sunday, June 19th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 9-game slate today, so let's take a look at the pitcher position. I like Sandy Alcantara pitching against a low salary batting team, the New York Mets. Sandy Alcantara is only giving up a .536 OPS versus righties. He's facing 5 righties here today, and the Mets have only hit 22 of his last 94 pitches. That's a .234 batting average. Sandy Alcantara is $10,900 FanDuel salary, $400 less on DraftKings, averaging 42 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 36, 49, and 55 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He has an ERA of 1.68. His record is 6-2, and he's pitching an average of 102 pitches per game. And Vegas thinks this is going to be a low-scoring game. 7 runs scored in this game. That's their over-under. So I like Sandy Alcantara here versus the New York Mets. I also like Luis Severino, and he's got a monstrous pitching advantage here over the Toronto Blue Jays. Luis Severino pitches his best ball by far to righty batters, 32% better than his other pitches, and he's facing 7 righties here tonight. Oh, he's only giving up a .471 OPS versus righties, facing 7 righties. I don't think the splits get any better than that. And the Blue Jays have only hit 11 of his last 58 pitches. That's a 190 batting average and a pretty decent sample size. Luis Severino is $10,000 FanDuel salary, 300 more on DraftKings, averaging 34 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 49 and 61 fantasy points in his last 2 games. He has an ERA of 2.8, record is 4-2, and he's pitching an average of 90 pitches per game. So I love this pick here tonight. Those are some of the best splits in pitcher versus batter history that you're going to see on a pitcher. So I like Luis Severino here versus the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher first base position. I got 2 picks for you here. The first one is Ryan Mountcastle with a 25% batting advantage over Corey Kluber. Ryan Mountcastle is batting a .783 OPS versus righties. Corey Kluber pitches his worst ball versus righty batters, 29% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .777 OPS versus righties. So Ryan Mountcastle is 3 for 10, batting 300. Now he's only got a .664 OPS versus Kluber. All 3 of those hits were singles, but I do like the splits here. And he's $3,400 FanDuel salary, only $800 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored fantasy points in all 5 of his last games. He has a batting average of .274, so I like Ryan Mountcastle here versus Corey Kluber. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And then we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy. And we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Now a stud pick here that I like, although he is facing a pretty good pitcher, I like CJ Cron with a 38% batting advantage over Blake Snell. CJ Cron is batting 7% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .948 OPS versus lefties. Blake Snell pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, 30% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .733 OPS versus righties. And I like this pick because CJ Cron is 5 for 12, batting a .417 batting average and a 1.212 OPS versus Snell. CJ Cron is 4,100 FanDuel salary, and he's averaging 12 fantasy points per game on the season, and he has a batting average of .291, and he scored fantasy points in all 5 of his last games. Also, I like this pick because Vegas thinks this is going to be a high-scoring game. 12.5 runs scored in this game. That's their over-under. So I do think this is a good game to stack. So I like CJ Cron here versus Blake Snell. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Marcus Semien with a 41% batting advantage over a low-salary pitcher, Drew Hutchinson. Marcus Semien bats a little bit better versus righty pitchers, batting a .758 OPS versus righties. Drew Hutchinson pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, 39% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .740 OPS versus righties. Marcus Semien is 2 for 6 with a .762 OPS versus Hutchinson. He's 3,000 FanDuel salary, 2,100 more on DraftKings, so I prefer that FanDuel price, averaging 9 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .223, but I think his FanDuel price is low enough where this is a good play on FanDuel, maybe not so much on DraftKings, but I like Marcus Semien here versus Drew Hutchinson. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. Here's a stud pick for you. Take a look at Manny Machado. He is batting against Antonio Senzatella. Manny Machado batting a .875 OPS versus righties. Antonio Senzatella giving up a .819 OPS versus righties. And I like this pick because Manny Machado is 8 for 19. That's a .421 batting average and a 1.166 OPS. He's got 3 doubles and 1 home run out of those 8 hits. He is 4,500 FanDuel salary. He's averaging 13 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .329, and he scored fantasy points in all 5 of his last games with some pretty impressive scores. Nothing under a 12.5 with the exception of the 6.2, but the last 4 games he's got 28, 12, 13, 12, 47.6, so he's on fire. So I like Manny Machado here versus Antonio Senzatella. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, moving on to the shortstop position. This is one of my favorite plays on the slate. I like Xander Bogaerts with a 44% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Andre Pallante. Xander Bogaerts batting a .890 OPS versus righty pitchers. Andre Pallante pitching his worst ball. Actually, he does pitch worse to switch hitters, but he's pitching 48% worse to righties as he does lefties, giving up a .771 OPS versus righties. So there's no at-bats versus Pallante yet. Xander Bogaerts only $3,500 FanDuel salary, $1,500 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored fantasy points in all 5 of his last games, and he has a batting average of .342. So a low chance of getting a 0 here from Bogaerts. He often will put points up on the board. I think he's going to have some success against this low salary pitcher. So I like Xander Bogaerts here versus Andre Pallante. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. I got a home run hitter for you. I like JD Martinez with a 36% batting advantage over that same low salary pitcher, Andre Pallante. JD Martinez batting a .900 OPS versus righties. We know Andre Pallante giving up a .771 OPS versus righties. No at-bats versus Pallante yet. And JD Martinez is only $3,800 FanDuel salary. He is $1,700 more on DraftKings, averaging 12 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games. He has a batting average of .342. So under 4K on FanDuel for both JD Martinez and Xander Bogaerts, I think is a pretty interesting stack here versus this low salary pitcher. So I like JD Martinez here versus Andre Pallante. Okay, now despite this guy not having great success versus this pitcher, I still like this pick. I like Hunter Renfroe with a 42% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Mike Minor. Hunter Renfroe batting 20% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .925 OPS versus lefties. And Mike Minor pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, 22% worse than his other pitches, giving up a 1.062 OPS versus righties. So I absolutely love the splits here. Now, what I don't like is that Hunter Renfroe is only 1 for 11 versus Minor. That's a .091 batting average, but he is only $3,100 FanDuel salary and only $400 more on DraftKings. So with the good splits here and the OPS, versus the lefty pitchers and Mike Minor's OPS that he's given up to righty batters, I think this pick makes sense, even though he has not had a lot of success versus Mike Minor. Only $3,100 FanDuel salary, $400 more on DraftKings. I especially like that DraftKings price. He's averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5 games, and he has a batting average of .250. So I like Hunter Renfroe here versus Mike Minor.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.